Well, good morning, everyone, and may I welcome you all into the peace and the tranquility of this chapel today, as we've come together to remember and to celebrate the life of Gordon Richard Dipple. My name is Trevor, and I'm a funeral celebrant, and it is my privilege to be taking Gordon's service today. Gordon was one of a kind. He was unique in many ways, and he lived his life as he wanted. He was a free spirit, some may say, even a wild and untamed soul. But he was an amazing man who was kind and gentle with a great sense of humour. He was in many ways a wise teacher and an inspiration to others. And throughout his life, he was community-driven and an adventurous traveller. He was someone who loved others, and he brought happiness to countless people. And although he is now gone, he will never be forgotten. Gordon entered today accompanied by the songs of Amy Wadge, who he knew both as she started her career and as she achieved fame in the music industry. And so it is fitting that he came on his final journey today to the sounds of her voice, something which I am sure he would have appreciated. Gordon was born on the 12th of February 1952 at 12 Rock Inn in Bromsgrove to Clara and Frank Dipple. He was the middle child of three. He had an older brother, Michael, who was 5 years older than Gordon, and his younger sister, Letitia. He did also have another brother called Royston, but Royston sadly passed away when he was only 2 weeks old. His schooling was at Watclose School, and then he went on to South Bromsgrove High School, followed by his studies at Shenstone College. And as a teenager, he liked going out with his four best mates, Tom Everson, David Chance, Colin Brooks, and Harold Halstead, only coming home when he was hungry. But of course, there is so much more to be said about Gordon's life, and we'll hear about that later from those that were closest to him. The death of someone close to us brings with it many difficult emotions, those of sadness and loss, and it often leaves a void where the person once was. But it is also a time when we can look back and give thanks for and celebrate their life. And today we will do just that as we remember Gordon through the tributes that will be paid to him. And I hope that today you will all be able to find comfort in the memories that you have of Gordon, and that those memories will help you as you try to come to terms with his death. May I now ask Jane to come up and read some thoughts on Gordon, which are written by his nephew, Scott. Just there if you want.
Gordon was not only an uncle to me, he was a best friend whom I navigated life and travelled the world with. We were very different people on the outset, but yet almost one of the same person, kindred spirits, or fellow Aquarians, as Gordon would say. I connected Gordon to the man-made world through my involvement in art, music and culture, and he connected me to the natural world through his love of nature, camping and the woodlands. Together, I think we convinced ourselves that we had life all figured out. Gordon inspired me to travel, meet new people, and explore out of my comfort zone. I looked up to Gordon in the same way he looked up to me. We inspired each other. We thrived off each other. He was there by my side, supporting everything I did, from dropping me off to film shoots in the early days of my television and video career, to attending many gigs at sweaty dive bars, supporting the various bands I've been in over the years. And of course, he never turned up without a camera in hand, ever. Early childhood memories with Gordon include camping adventures in Wales and at Shell Island. When I was 9 years old, I got run over by a car on one of those camping trips. And Gordon never let me forget how I ruined the holiday for him and my brothers. So much so that after spending a weekend in Aberystwyth Hospital with my leg in plaster cast, he insisted we continued the camping trip with me in tow, on a stretcher, lay there on the beach every day, watching my brothers have fun in the sand dunes. To be fair to Gordon, it was my fault, as I didn't listen to his warnings about the road. He was probably just teaching me a lesson. I admired his tough love, though, like when he convinced us the ice cream man only played his tune to let everyone know he'd run out of ice cream. Looking back, I consider it character building now. Either that or he was just too tight to buy us anything. We especially bonded in my late and teenage years, when I would spend many late nights at Gordon's flat. We would build computers together, make our own websites, and come up with inventive ways to try and find his adopted son, Ami. This closeness led up to our amazing backpacking adventure, where we travelled the east coast of Australia together in 2005. Gordon reinvented himself in the late 1980s, following the traumatic forced adoption of his son. He re-educated himself at this time by sitting GCSEs, learning British Sign Language, becoming a play scheme leader and an expert astrologist and canoeist. Gordon was a complex character, loved by many and misunderstood by some. For me, though, he was my brightest guiding light. Our friendship, like most, wasn't without the occasional bump. I want to end now with some special words from Gordon that he posted online earlier this year. They are special to me because they prompted me back into his life in recent months to enable me to say my final goodbye to such a wonderful man. Gordon said, "Farewell, my friends. Thank you for making me who I am. I carry a little part of each and every one of you in my heart, as I hope I do in yours."
Thank you. As you will all know, Gordon was an avid collector of his adventures and his life through his huge collection of videos and photographs. And Scott has created a video of those memories and he's put them to music, written and performed by Gordon's good friend, Dan Greenaway. And I'd like to show that to you now. Thanks, Scott. Could I now ask Tim to join me to talk about his dad?
I was doing slightly better before that video. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, so what more can I say after Scott's beautiful montage from my father's video legacy? With such a short slot, I have to focus and illuminate just a small patch of the rich tapestry of Gordon's life. My father dedicated his life to cultivating positive relationships with people. Even when he was spending time alone, he was taking videos to share. He wanted to build connections with people who would be inspired to appreciate and care for nature and others. By being selective about who he spent his time with, he could be surrounded by good people and thereby insulate himself from the world's evils. He wanted to be valuable to people, so he cultivated a skill set and personality to maximize his positive influence and to attract the kind of souls that would appreciate who he was. He shared the wisdom he gained through his life by stories, advice, or simply by being an example. I'd like to encourage everyone to think of the ways that Gordon touched their lives and the wisdoms embedded in those interactions. Although he's no longer with us in one sense, there is a profound and perhaps even more real sense in which he remains with us, so long as the good he brought to us is not forgotten and the love he showed us remains in our hearts. I had a remarkable effect on Gordon before I was even born. He turned his life around from being a notorious local nuisance to a celebrated local legend. The transformation took time and wasn't smooth or fast enough to save the relationship with my mother, nor satiate the social workers who simply wouldn't believe he was fit to be a father. He fought for me tooth and nail through the courts. The more he learned about childcare, demonstrated his capability and dedication, the more they worked to undermine him and the dirtier their tactics became. I wonder if part of the reason he planted so many hundreds of trees in his life was the guilt from the amount of books and paperwork he had, which bear witness to his efforts and his ordeals. Many men who were in his position fell into bitterness and despair, seeking refuge in a bottle or escape off a tall building. Gordon showed it's not the trials we go through that shape us, but how we respond to them that defines who we become. As he took me around Bromsgrove, I met many people. As he took me around Bromsgrove, I met many people who he had introduced to the beauty of nature as young children, who had built go-karts with, people who looked up to him with a deep sense of gratitude. Me being taken away from him became a gift to others on the estate. Many more gained a surrogate father, an uncle, a refuge, and a friend. He didn't waste his drive to nurture, nor knowledge from studying the raising and enrichment of children. Astrology could not assure him we would meet again, nor even that I was still alive. But he held on to hope and strived hard to become a man that I would be proud to call my father. When I told him he had succeeded, he told me that was the last thing he needed. He could die content, and any extra days he got were a bonus. One of his biggest fears with me being adopted was that I'd grow up into some yuppie who sold his soul to the system. He was truly relieved this was not the case, that I too loved nature, that we could go camping together, that I built my own yurt from his designs, and that we could while away hours together in Gordon's field by his Telefelter. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Well, I rolled halfway across England, yet my roots grew like his nonetheless. I'd like to finish with a short poem I wrote to share with his friends. Don't worry, it's short. Gordon travelled half the world, but he rarely paid to stay. His skills, his stories, and his heart were enough to pay his way. He really disliked money and those possessed by greed. To be with friends and nature was all he'd ever need. A real old-school hippie whose spirit barely aged. This doer and adventurer could not be tamed nor caged. He valued time and freedom, his friendships and his health. Things that could be traded he did not see as wealth. His inheritance to me, the tax man couldn't touch. His collection of good people is simply worth too much. What he left behind of value is with whom he spent his time. So, dear friends of my father, you are now dear friends of mine.
Thank you. Simon's now going to join me to read a tribute by Gordon's nephew and niece, Mark and Marie. Okay, it's there if you need it as well.
Today, remember Uncle Gordon, who had a way of turning up at the door unannounced, turning the simplest moments into cherished memories. Whether it was a quiet morning in nature or a long walk shared with friends. Many of us recall the adventures we shared, packed into the back of his van with other children, heading off on trips that would become cherished memories. One such trip was to Wales. Stands out for the laughter, camaraderie, and lessons we learnt along the way. He found peace under open skies and among tall trees, always ready to pitch a tent with us, breathing fresh air and remind us of the beauty that exists just outside the door. Camping with his yurt wasn't just a hobby for him. It was his way of reconnecting with the world and showing others how big and wonderful life could be. Gordon was more than just a companion on these journeys. He was a teacher in the truest sense. He taught us not only practical skills like identifying trees and plants or how to build a bivouac, but also the importance of social skills and looking out for one another. His lessons extended far beyond the campsite, shaping the people we are today. Later, he would share these skills with our own children. His great nieces, Zoe and Charlotte, recall popping in on his friends, late evening walks and making honey on toast. Who could forget that unmistakable presence? You always knew when Gordon was nearby, as you could hear him whistling a tune from miles away. But his cheerful sound was a signal that everything was all right and that you were in a good company. Gordon saw his life through a special lens, sometimes quite literally. Camera in hand, wherever he travelled, he captured moments the rest of us may have missed. His photos and videos were not just images, they were invitations to appreciate life's detail and join him on his adventures. He loved sharing those moments with the world, whether posting to Facebook, chatting with friends, or online, or making YouTube videos to document his journeys. Gordon had a gift for bringing people along with him. His enthusiasm, creativity, and curiosity reached far beyond the places he visited. They connected him with others near and far. He believed his time was a gift, and more than anything, Gordon believed experiences meant more than things. When we were younger, he gave us lots of memories: muddy boots, tired legs, shared meals after long days out, and the joy of seeing the world through both nature and camera lens. He showed us life not just by travelling through it, but by welcoming us into every adventure, both in person and online. Gordon's legacy lives on in the stories we share, the skills we pass down, and the fond memories that will forever echo, like his familiar whistle through our lives. Continue exploring, Gordon. We'll miss you. Happy adventures.
Thank you. There is a poem which in many ways can be seen as a message from Gordon to you all. It tells us although his physical presence has gone, we still remain here in nature and in the memories and the things that we see around us. It's called Do Not Stand by My Grave and Weep, and I'd like to invite Jane to read it to you now.
Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn's rain. When you wake up to morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die.
Thank you, Jane. I'm now going to hand over to Dan, who's going to perform the song Charles in memory of Gordon. Dan.
Well, I said to Scott, I'd say a few words just before the song, but I didn't write a script for it. I've never performed this song in front of anybody before, but I can't think of a better person to do it for today. Goes on the same lines, the poem you just heard. Don't be silly, you know that I wouldn't want that. I am happy, rest assured I am happy. Remember I brought you all together, so let nothing pull you apart. Not all tears are evil, so remember that when you cry. Remember that when you wonder why. Smile when you think about me, for I always look on you. No, you can't see now or touch me, but I'll live on the things that you do. And I'll smile down on you, so never let a day slip away. 'Cause life is a living and die. I live for life every day, so never let a day slip away. Smile down on you every day. Promise me this, but never let a day slip away. 'Cause life is for living and die. I live for life every day. I'll be smiling down on you every day. I'll be smiling down on you every day. So never let a day slip away. I'll be smiling down on you every day. Every day. I'll be smiling down on you every day. La, 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 la.
Thanks, Dan. Could I now ask Jane to come up and tell me her memories of Gordon?
Gordon would have loved seeing all you gathered here today for him. When he asked me a while ago to say a few words, I thought, how can I possibly sum up Gordon in a few words? So here are a few personal thoughts regarding a very special friend. We met over 30 years ago at a party. We started chatting and continued all night long and beyond. We just seemed to connect. Likely that resonates with many of you here. Gordon's smile and his ability to come alongside strangers was a real gift. There began a beautiful friendship. Gordon admitted he was contradictory, enjoying aloneness, yet thriving on human contact, preferring his own company, yet seeking people out. Never in any place for too long. 3 days was enough. We shared many happy memories walking and talking, watching the sun set over Clent Hills, visiting Lickey and Hanbury Church. He cherished the view over his beloved Bromsgrove, where he was rooted. Gordon encouraged and guided many, and he helped me. I was always terrified of water, yet he persuaded me to canoe with him down the river at Bewdley. And although my legs were quaking, I trusted him implicitly to look after me, and he led me gently downstream. The wonderful messages from so many friends on Gordon's Facebook showed how much he supported folk. Gordon was an enabler and a teacher, but so much more than that. He inspired others, including me, to move out of their comfort zone and take risks. Gordon wanted to share his wisdom of learned experiences to empower others. He had that special gift of convincing people that they could succeed at anything if they tried. He was a fount of knowledge and introduced me to astrology. Gordon was a perceptive soul, and his reading of my star chart was scarily accurate, as if he knew me better than myself. Our paths separated. I went off to study psychology, and Gordon went off to study people. He proudly stated on his Facebook page that he studied master's degree with honours at the University of Life, 1952 to 2025. Gordon always followed his own path. Although we lost touch, I shared his adventures through his Facebook window until his illness took a downward turn and I felt compelled to contact him. I wrote to Gordon. He called and we hugged when he turned up, completely unannounced on my doorstep. Did you ever feel, though, sometimes it was one rule for Gordon and a different one for the rest of us? He would say, I don't like being held to times and dates because I never know where I might be from one day to the next. 1 minute he was in Bromsgrove, the next sunning himself in Morocco. A born wanderer with a restless heart, but always returning home. Gordon liked things to be on his own terms or not at all. He could be obstinate, demanding, and annoying, as Scott, Tracey, and I discovered recently. But love is very forgiving. The beauty was our friendship was renewed as if it were yesterday. That's a test of a close relationship where time becomes irrelevant. We had a funny moment when I accompanied Gordon to his blood test. The nurse asked if we were a couple because we looked and dressed alike. Not sure what she meant, but it made us smile. The last 9 months were precious as we caught up with each other's lives. He showed me photos and articles as he also had been tracking my life. We'd both been watching each other from afar. I just wished we'd rejoined sooner. Gordon's film archives helped him stay connected to those he loved, and his poignant website title, Will You Remember Me?, suggested his wish to be seen by those he cared about, and it worked for others to find him. We shared deep conversations over the past months, reminiscing over his lifetime experiences and meaningful friendships gathered along the way. We revisited Chadsley Wood, his favourite place, and Sanders Park, which he planted and proudly watched grow. He shed tears recalling, fulfilling a longed-for wish to watch his son climb the branches of a mighty tree that was once a sapling that he planted. He nurtured trees as he did people. For such a free-spirited, independent and adventurous soul, Gordon's increasing loss of physical strength and freedom was upsetting and frustrating. He wrestled with reconciling with his mortality, but regretting leaving behind those he loved. Still, he faced life and death with unwavering fortitude and positive spirit. I recently shared these words with Gordon. The tide recedes but leaves behind bright seashells on the sand. The sun goes down, but gentle warmth still lingers on the land. The music stops, and yet it lingers on in sweet refrain. For every joy that passes, something beautiful remains. Gordon, you gave us a wonderful legacy of friendships and memories from which something truly beautiful remains. The sad part is that we can no longer share them with you, but we trust they will be just as marvelous as the times we all had together. Peace and love to you, Gordon, as you continue your travels and adventures in a different realm. Thank you, dearest friend. Until we meet again, Gordon, happy wanderings.
Thank you, Jane. Let us now hear another poem, which tells us that when someone dies, we should miss them, but we should let them go from this life. It reminds us that death is a part of life and something which we all must face, but that they live on through our memories that we all hold dear. We should not live in sadness, but with love, affection, and the ability to smile as we remember them. And I would like to ask Tracey to join me here to read it for you.
When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not for long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey we all must take, and each must go alone. It's all part of the master plan, a step on the road to home. When you are lonely and sick at heart, go to the friends we know. Laugh at all the things we used to do. Miss me, but let me go.
Today you've all had the very sad duty of saying goodbye to a kind, gentle and supportive man whose legacy lives on in everyone that he met. So as we approach the end of the service, let us take with us all those wonderful memories and remember that Gordon would be the first to tell you not to unduly grieve for him or to live in sadness, because he had a good life and one that he lived to the full. And in the end, it is for the living to live and for those that have gone to rest in peace. The grief and the sadness that you all feel is natural, so take your time. Do not be afraid to talk about how you feel. Support each other and talk about Gordon as you always did. Retell his wonderful stories. Shed a tear if it helps, and talk to him if it brings you comfort, because he would want you now to move on, to live your lives to the full whilst taking his memory with you. Over the next few days, weeks and months, there will be times when you feel sad and you will miss Gordon. And you may well ask yourself, will I ever get over his death? Well, the answer is yes, you will. But the sadness that you feel will never truly go away. You will simply learn to live with it in a world that has now changed for you all. It is now a world without Gordon, and one that is no doubt poorer for his death. But there is still a life to be lived, and although Gordon will not be here, his memory will sustain you through the dark times ahead. And when things get difficult, just ask yourself, what would he say? How would he react? And then follow his guidance, because it is still there. Be kind to yourselves and hold each other close. Yes, there may be dark times ahead, but you are all strong enough to overcome them. There may be lonely times, but he will be there by your side, unheard, unseen, but he will be there. It may seem a bit odd to talk about a celebration at a time like this, but of course, it's not about being joyful at someone's death, but about having a sense of pride in what they did, how they did it, and the way in which they lived their lives. And you were all privileged to have been part of Gordon's life. And the things that you shared are now part of who you are. And so be thankful that he was part of your life and you were part of his. Take the legacy of the good times with you, as they are the reason to celebrate Gordon's life, and let us mark his death with a sense of pride and with the ability to move on, knowing that he is with you and by your side. If you would like to make a donation in memory of Gordon, there is a QR code on the rear of the order of service, or there is a collection box by the door as you leave the chapel. And all of your gifts will go to the Woodland Trust to help them in the wonderful work that they do. We're all given the gift of life, and it is indeed a precious gift. And we should strive to live it to the full, just like Gordon did. As I said, he wouldn't want you to spend it in sadness, but rather to live your lives to the full and to achieve all of your dreams. Because to do that will be paying tribute to him, and it will be the best way to honour his memory. As you will all know, Gordon was somewhat of a local legend, and each Christmas he would gather wild mistletoe and give it to his friends and people that he met. And so, to repay his kindness, as you leave, you may wish to take a piece of mistletoe and place it on his coffin. And so now let us leave here, and let us go back into the world with a peaceful heart and a calm mind, strengthened by the knowledge that you were all bound together by love. And as Gordon would say, love and peace to you all. Thank you.
When the day is done and the ball is gone in the And the clock turns back to the